What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, Kevin Coleman at DuBois_22. Here in my classroom, ready to give you another Devy Royale in 5. And, on this episode, we're going to be talking about transfer quarterback Max Johnson. Max Johnson, former LSU quarterback, transferred to Texas A&M after his brother, one of the highest rated tight ends in the country, Jake Johnson, also committed to Texas A&M in December. So when we're looking at what Max has done at LSU, up and down year and really up and down seasons the last 2 years. As a freshman during the COVID year, he was 88 for 150, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he looks fairly good in different ways. A lot of people had Max as their QB3 going into the year in that class, and he looked like he was on his way up. Then we saw in 2021 a little bit of I don't want to say a step back, but something had happened there. Now, 6'5", 219, he had a 60% completion percentage, and that's kind of the key. I think that he really struggled with his accuracy, and he really, really struggled with kind of consistency in that offense. And I don't know whether that was because of the lack of rushing attack, whether that was Coach O, the issues, all those things that we've seen with him. There was definitely some issues there. Now, he did throw for 2,800 yards. He had 27 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And there was times in games, especially the game that we're gonna talk about against Texas A&M, ironically, where he looked pretty good. I mean, he had a few games towards the end of the year where he definitely looked better, even against at the early part of the season. Mississippi State, Central Michigan, 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. It just didn't click for him in that offense. And then when, obviously Brian Kelly coming in, he left. So what can we expect from him? And what is he? Now, when you look at his tape, really 2 things just really pop up. Toughness. He got hit a lot. He stood in there. He took sacks. He took hits. He was able to deliver under pressure. So that's the one thing that kind of can step up for you in terms of what he does well. And then the other one is his release. I mean, I think he has a fairly good release. And when you're looking at him and watching him play, I think those are 2 things that he does really well and that he has. He has that toughness that you like to see, and he has that release. But there are a lot of things that you need to look at in terms of him as a prospect. And I would definitely recommend also checking out Matt Waldman. He did a really good breakdown of him. I think in the middle of the year I read it, kind of talking about kind of the things that he's got to work on in terms of him as a quarterback. So let's just take a look at some of his tape. What we're going to do is just watch the film from his Texas A&M game towards the end of the year last year. And again, you'll see it here, okay? He's got some athleticism in the pocket. He's not a dual threat by any means, but he can kind of create more opportunities for himself if he needs to. You'll see it here. Gets the ball out quick, knows where he's going. I will say when you're watching the tape, a lot of it's first read stuff. So when we're thinking and we're sitting here watching it, and I think that's one thing he's got to work on. He has touch, though, and you'll see it here. He has an ability to make these throws. And we'll go back a little bit on this one. And when we're watching it, again, he's able to – he sees the receivers open, gets it there, gets to the outside, over the shoulder. That's the stuff that Johnson can do, and he knows that. Now, if he gets out quick and does these things, I think that would be a benefit to him. He had athletes at LSU. Texas A&M is getting there in terms of the receiving room, but they're going to really focus on that running game, and I think that will help Johnson, though, because he's not going to have to be that guy that just, slings it 30, 40 times a game. It doesn't work. If he can kind of rely on Devin Chain and these other guys that kind of separate him, that would be a good thing. Again, sets up, gets the ball to him quick. There's something about his arm that worries me a little bit. I do think that he doesn't have the necessary arm strength that you're going to really want to see from him. He's a very good game manager, gets to the outside, and he can make throws like that. But when he's asked and put under too much pressure, I do think that he can his mechanics slip up a little bit, and that's where those interceptions come from. But again, under pressure, dials it in. This is a game throw right here, okay? So again, you'll see this. And when I talked about that toughness, he sees that the coverage is. He sees that the blitz is coming. He gets rid of it quick, and he's able to dial it in. Look at that pass to that receiver on the outside. I mean, those are the things that you like to see from him as a quarterback, and those are the good. And in this game especially, he had 306 yards and 3 touchdowns, but his completion percentage was 57%. So again, the good and the bad with Max, back and forth, okay? Now, where's he going right now as far as Devy, ADP, or even C2C? Obviously, Devy is probably a non-factor, but C2C, 25th to 45th round, I mean, at a certain point, when we're looking at where he's at in that depth chart, I don't think it's a bad call to maybe grab him at that point. Maybe you're going 0 quarterback and you get him late and you can maybe grab someone like him. Again, he's behind Haynes King. Maybe Haynes King got injured. We haven't really seen. I know there's some people that are really high on Haynes King. I've always been very timid about him. Connor Wigman, who's the true freshman coming in, 5-star kid. I love Connor. I think Connor is the best quarterback on that roster. But I don't think Jimbo plays him. And I think that he's going to go conservative like Jimbo does, and he's going to go with Max or Haynes. So it's going to be a QB battle. So we don't know who's going to start. But there's a reason why they brought Max in. I don't think that they're really happy with Haynes. I don't know if that's their guy right now based on what they saw last year before the injury. I know he got injured early, so it's one of those things. And I think Connor is not someone that he wants to start right away, even though I think that he could play right away. So I think Max is going to be right in there. And I think that if he has a good spring and he has a good fall ball and he can compete, I think it's going to be interesting. I could see them splitting some time early on in the season, and especially in the SEC, ready to go. And so Max is an interesting prospect. I think that this is a good spot for him in terms of the weapons on the outside. And, Ania Smith's going to be there, Jalen Preston, DeMond DeMoss, Caleb Chapman. You're looking at Evan Stewart, young kid coming out there, Chris Marshall. Like they're getting weapons on the outside. So can he kind of elevate that team? I think that's the key. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Please hit that like and subscribe button for the channel. Check out the podcast, and we'll check you guys.